What's good, everybody? It's Brent Plays Madden, and today we have, I don't know what exactly we're going to call it, but it is an NFL mock draft. But the twist is that every single pick is being made by a fan, a diehard fan of that specific team. So, like, for the Jags, we have a Jaguars fan making the pick. For the Giants, we have a Giants fan making the pick. Not me, but a Giants fan. So for every pick, we had a fan of a certain team making the pick, and I not only asked them who to pick, but why. And let's get into it. So the first guy asked, and I'll put the DM from the person, I'll put it on the screen so that you guys can see. But the first guy, I had to find a Jags fan, and you guys might know, but it's pretty hard to find a Jags fan, I gotta be honest. And I'm not even saying this for the jokes. I mean, partly, but also it is pretty hard to find a Jags fan. So I wrote to a bunch of Jags fan pages, and I had one response. So the response was Trevor Lawrence, and I kind of expected that, but I wanted to hear the reason why. So he said Trevor Lawrence because he can do everything, throw the deep ball, he has the run capability, and he's talented. I was like, okay, cool. So the second one, and we're just going to move on with this. Again, Jets fan. Again, it was hard to find one. I think I went with the Jets fan page here, and the response was Zach Wilson because he plays like Rodgers, same sort of style, and short and sweet answer like that. So you see, we have a pretty similar mock draft to most mocks, but trust me, it will get crazy, it will get wild. So let's move on. The next one we had 49ers, and again, I forget who I asked, but the conversation will be on the screen, I guess, so you'll see it now. And I said, all right, Trevor's off the board, Zach Wilson's off the board. Who you taking for the 49ers at 3? And he said Justin Fields. All right, Justin Fields because he's the best player available, and Jimmy G gets injured too much. And as much as I agree Jimmy G does get injured too much, I thought maybe they would go Trey Lance. And it's interesting how Mac Jones is actually ranked above Trey Lance now. But anyways, moving on. I like that pick. I mean, it's not who I would have picked, but still a very, very good pick for the 49ers. And okay, here is where it gets a little wild. I went to a Falcons fan. I said, hey, all right, Trevor's off the board, Zach's off the board, Justin's off the board. Who are you taking at 4 for the Falcons? And you know what this Falcons fan said? He said Jalen Waddle. No, don't get me wrong. Jalen Waddle is probably one of the best, if not the best wide receiver in the draft. But to the Falcons, who have Julio, Ridley, I was confused. But okay, here's his answer. He said Jalen Waddle because they need a speedy wide receiver, and he doesn't know how long Julio will last. So I guess that makes sense. If Julio goes, all they have is Ridley. So, alright, Jalen Waddle. Moving on. Pick number 5, the Bengals. Just want you guys to know, I was gonna DM BB, but I thought he was busy with college stuff. So I ended up DMing somebody else, and it'll be on the screen. But this Bengals fan said Ja'Marr Chase because of the LSU connection with Burrow and way better first round O-tackle depth in day 2 than wide receiver depth. So, he went Ja'Marr Chase here. Yeah, so he was thinking either wide receiver or O-tackle, and he thinks he could still get a good O-tackle day 2 in round 2, but he doesn't think he can get a good wide receiver in round 2. So, Ja'Marr Chase. Alright, on to the Dolphins. I asked, his name, Finn17. I was like, alright, man. These top 5 guys, these are all off the board. Who would you take at 6 and why? And he went with Penei Sewell, and he said even though it's not their biggest need, the value of Sewell, still on the board at this point in time, because he's dropped this far, he's the best O-lineman in the draft, and he'd be a steal at this pick. And, the Dolphins still kind of need to either, add some more to the offensive line. They don't need it, but it would definitely help. Okay, pick number 7, we got the Lions. And I was like, alright, man, these 6 guys all off the board, who do you want? And he said Devontae Smith because they need receivers. Pretty simple, but Good answer, man. Good answer. Next one. All right. The Panthers at number 8. I went to my boy KPM and I'm like, hey man, these 7 guys are off the board. Who do you want at number 8? And let me just say it was a pretty long response. So I have two screenshots here. I'll put them both on the screen one at a time. But first he said Trey Lance. I'm like, all right, makes sense. Trey Lance. Why do you think him? And then I got like a paragraph, an essay. He said the Panthers need a consistent young quarterback to fuel their explosive offense. Lance is a raw talent with a lot of upside and can make the Panthers a force to be reckoned with if they add Lance at quarterback. Because they have all their weapons in their offense like CMC, DJ Moore, and Robbie Anderson. So that makes sense. And moving on to pick number 9, we have the Denver Broncos. I went to my boy Beast Gaming, and he said Micah Parsons because he's one of the best linebackers in the draft and had a great 40 time. He would also learn from the best in Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. So, good pick, I'd say. Definitely a good pick. Okay, we're rounding out the top 10. We have the Cowboys, and my boy Fast Cowboy said Patrick Surtain because he's the most needed position the Cowboys need after some corners left in free agency. I mean, that's just like a match made in heaven, They need corners. He's probably the best one in the draft. Boom, easy pick. And now where it starts to go a little crazy, and I guess it's not too crazy, but I was like, hey, Madam Mobile Myth, man, I know you're a Giants fan. I'm a Giants fan too. These 10 guys are off the board. Who would you take at 11? And I was really, really expecting him to go like Rashawn Slater or something, because we need O-line. And he did go O-line, but he didn't go Slater. He didn't go Darisaw, not even Vera Tucker. He goes Tevin Jenkins. So, I like his reasoning. We do need O-line. I probably would have went Slater, but hey, if Jenkins turns out to be the best O-tackle in the draft, I'm not complaining, man. I'm not complaining. So, okay, Eagles at number 12. I was like, all right, who do you want? 11 guys off the board. Who you taking? And the Eagles fans said Kyle Pitts because it fits a big need for the Eagles. They haven't had a true receiver in a while, and he would be the best available. And I added on, and, he's a versatile weapon, so you can't go wrong with him. But yeah, and okay, Eagles fans, you might think, oh, we just drafted another tight end. We had Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, Richard Rodgers. But in all fairness, first of all, Ertz might retire soon. But second, and Richard Rodgers, maybe he's not that good. I do like Goddard though, but Pitts could also play receiver. He could just be a wide receiver in the NFL. We don't really know yet, so I say that's still a good pick. Alright. Chargers at number 13. My boy, I asked him, and he's like, yeah, we'll go J.C. Horn. The Chargers need corners badly. So I was like, alright. Yeah, it looks like you need corners. You also need other positions, but hey, J.C. Horn, solid pick. And then I went to my boy, OG Aaron. I'm like, Aaron, help me out. These guys are off the board. Who you taking at number 14? And, Aaron probably got one of the biggest steals in the draft so far, and he took Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern, 14th overall, O-tackle. And his reasoning was because the O-line needs needs serious upgrade, plus it's good value for Slater, arguably one of the best linemen in the draft. And I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I'm not sure they needed O-line, but hey, never a bad idea to help the O-line. And okay, 15th overall, we got the Patriots. I could have went so many different ways here. There are so many Patriots fans out there. I could have asked so many different people. I ended up, asking MM Patriots Man just because he was online right when I was, trying to get an answer. So, MM Patriots Man, I was like, hey man, these guys, you can't get them. 15th overall, who you taking? Just assume there's no trades. And he went, yeah, you know the name, Mac Jones out of Alabama. And the reason he said this was, he said they need a quarterback or a backup QB for Cam this year, or Jones could become the starter even, which Patriots Man said he could see happening. Also, he said that the running backs are strong and the defense is too. And quarterback would be a solid investment because of this, or because of that. So, solid pick. Then we have the Cardinals at number 16. Almost halfway done with the mock draft. Cardinals at number 16. Asked my boy, he said Caleb Farley because they need corners. He's the best available, top 10 talent, but injury dropped his value slightly. And I agree with this. I think that they definitely do need corner. And Caleb Farley is a steal at number 16. The reason he dropped below J.C. Horn is just because of injuries, but I think he'll be fine. So, Caleb Farley. And yeah, we'll, next pick. We have the Raiders, and I went to my boy MMT, asked him, hey, I know you're a big Raiders fan. Who would you take and why? And turns out he's also a big Michigan fan, and the Raiders do need edge, so he picked Kwity Paye. He said, Kwity Paye, because the defense needs help, plus he moves like Aaron Donald, looks like a future Hall of Famer. Now, I'm not saying he is a future Hall of Famer, and I'm not saying I agree with him in that, but Kwity Paye is probably one of the best edge rushers in the draft, so I do agree with that pick. Very good pick. And now, a curveball, boys. We go back to Fin 17. We're like, alright, you made a good pick before. You got Sewell for the O-line. Who you taking now for the Dolphins? And he goes with Najee Harris, running back out of Alabama. Now, they have Myles Gaskin, but how good is he going to be? We don't know. And he's a Najee Harris because they need a running back because Burrito left. And Gaskins is okay, but not insanely good. Solid pick. So it looks like they're just helping out the offense this year. Because honestly, I mean, the defense was solid last year. Andrew Van Ginkel run the line, on the linebacking core. They did lose Van Noy, but, Ginkel can pick up the slack. Alright. The next team we have at number 19 is the football team. I went to my boy Christian Plays that said, hey, 18 guys off the board. These are the best available. Who do you want on your team? And Christian, I guess he didn't know all the players in the draft. He's just like, give me the best linebacker. I'm like, alright. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah from Notre Dame. Best linebacker available because Micah Parsons was already taken. And that's pretty good value at number 19. So he said, we need a linebacker. Our linebacking core is terrible. Main position of need. That's really all he said, but makes sense, man. So we gave him Koramoah at number 19. Now, number 20, we have the Bears. And my boy said Samuel Cosmi because the O-line needs help and would help the Bears quarterback of the future, whoever it is. So you don't know who the quarterback of the future is, but definitely getting a solid O-lineman round 1 would help out that situation in the future. So we'll come back when we get all the rest of the picks and see. Alright guys, and we're back, and so the 21st pick in the draft belongs to the Colts. So I went to, my boy who's a Colts fan, I believe it was King Chaotic. I was like, hey man, these guys, 20 guys off the board. Who would you take in this situation? And I kind of assumed he would go this way, but he went Christian Darrisaw, O-tackle from Virginia Tech. And the reason is that he said because they need an O-tackle because Costanzo retired. So that makes sense. He's the best O-tackle supposedly on the board. And yeah. Okay, the next guy, Titan fans, I went to my boy M4Y. And he said Rashad Bateman because the Titans need a wide receiver because Corey Davis left. Bateman has good speed and great route running, which makes him a great weapon for Tannehill. He said a lot more, but I'll let you guys pause the video and read all that if you want to, because let's just say it's longer than KPM's essay of a response. So, Bateman, replacing Corey Davis basically. And yeah. Okay, next one is going to be the Jets. So the Jets already got Zach Wilson in this draft. And who do they take at 23? Well, they fill one of their needs. Not one of their biggest needs, but I guess, they fill a hole. Elijah Vera Tucker, offensive line. I think he's more of a guard, but either way, great pickup at number 23. He was one of the guys that I wanted the Giants to look at. at 11. So yeah, very good pickup at number 23. And he said easily Vera Tucker because he's the best guard, not necessarily O lineman, but best guard in the class, and the Jets need at least one. So Elijah Vera Tucker, best player off the board available, I guess, at least on this board. And next up, we have the Steelers. I went to my boy MGJ Plays, and he's like Travis Etienne. I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. He said because he's a very strong runner and great receiving back as well. Steelers have struggled in the run game the last few years, so grabbing a star running back in the first round would greatly help the run game. He is also a great fit with the Steelers' new offensive coordinator, so I think he's the best pick for us. That's what MGJ said, so we're going to go find... Did I miss him? Oh, there he is. Travis Etienne, second running back off the board. And moving on. Okay, the Jags with their second pick. They've already got Trevor. Who do they want with their second pick? Well, the Jags go Trevon Moehrig here. The best, or at least the best scouted safety in the draft. Supposedly the best safety in the draft. And he said because his highlights make him look like a very solid safety, and he's very athletic. If he makes it to the 25th pick, we have to take him. He also said he wanted JOK, Jeremiah Owuzu Koromoa, but he's not available here. The football team actually took him at 19, so yeah. Okay, pick number 26, we have the Cleveland Browns, and the Browns, they're a strong team, but they have a couple needs. They need like edge or linebacker or something like that, and this Browns guy that I DM'd him, and he's like, yeah, we need Zaven Collins because he's the best rushing linebacker in the draft. Browns could use that. Notice he didn't say best linebacker in the draft because that's probably Micah Parsons, but best rushing linebacker in the draft, okay, maybe. So Zaven Collins, pick number 27. I went to my boy Mobile Gaming, and I was like, okay, Ravens are on the board, 26 guys, not here anymore. Who do you want? And he was like, well, we lost Matthew Judon and Yannick Ngakoue. We need a good edge rusher, so let's go Jalen Phillips. And Jalen Phillips is probably the most talented edge rusher in the draft class, but his injury concerns have him slipping a little bit in the first round. Still very, very talented, though. Okay, Saints. I asked my boy, he's like, hey, Gregory Newsome, because they need corners. Just lost Janoris Jenkins, can rarely trust the secondary. D-line is full of talent, the offense has a lot of playmakers, so corner is the move. I agree, based on his explanation, that makes sense. And then, Jam 21, making the pick for the Packers. Now, I do want to mention, he mentioned that he wishes a bunch of other guys were still on the board. He said a lot of the best players were off the board, especially in terms of corners. So he was sad about that. But he said Asante Samuel Jr. because Asante can help the team right away, and he's the best pick. So, yeah, I would have thought of him more as like a round 2, round 3 kind of guy. Probably like late round 2. There he is. But, hey, you know what? Jam knows what he's doing. So, Asante Samuel Jr., cornerback, Florida State. And now we go on to pick number 20. I had to DM a Bills fan page. I wanted to DM Tyler, but he wasn't available. So, Bills fan page, I was like, 29 guys off the board. Who you taking? He said Eric Stokes, because the Bills need an elite cornerback too, opposite Tre'Davious White, and Stokes is a good zone player, or a zone corner, which is primarily what the Bills play. And also, I was like, okay, yeah, he's probably one of the best cornerbacks on the board available. Okay. Then we have the Chiefs. The Chiefs. I said, hey, who you taking? And he's like, Jamin Davis. And if those of you who don't know who Jamin Davis is right here from Kentucky, he was, I think, projected to be maybe like a third round pick or something. Maybe a 4th round pick. Probably third. I think he was third. Yeah, he was projected like 3rd round pick. He had an amazing combine. He ran a really good 40-yard dash. I think he had like a good vertical or something. He basically showed up in the combine. So that's why his draft stock got moved up. So he said, because of his performance at this combine, it rose the draft stock a ton, but I honestly believe guys... Oh, and then I said, I honestly believe guys like Zaven Collins and Nick Bolton would be better picks. But yeah, he thinks Jamin Davis, or whatever his name is, so solid. And finally, guys, the last pick in the draft, I went to my boy Mevion Money, aka Kevion Money, and I'm like, alright man, you got the last pick in the draft, who do you want? And he said, Nick Bolton. I was like, bravo man, very nice steal of a pick. He's been a sleeper, by the way, in like a lot of mock drafts. Anyways, Nick Bolton, because JPP may be retiring soon, because he's played like 12 seasons. So I agree with that pick. Not that he'll be retiring soon, although he might. But I definitely do agree with that pick. Nick Bolton, he's solid, even though they still sign like Shaquille Barrett. I mean, Nick Bolton, too good to pass up on. So this is the draft, guys. Just an overview. Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Jalen Waddle at 4th. Then we got Jamar Chase to the Bengals. Miami takes Sewell. Devonta Smith, Trey Lance, Micah Parsons, Patrick Surtain, Tevin Jenkins, Kyle Pitts, J.C. Horn, Rashawn Slater, Mac Jones, Caleb Farley, Kwity Paye, Najee Harris, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, Samuel Cosmi, Christian Darrisaw, Rashad Bateman, Elijah Vera Tucker. We got Travis Etienne, Trevon Moehrig, Zaven Collins, Jalen Phillips, Gregory Newsome II, Asante Samuel Jr., Eric Stokes, Jamin Davis, and finally Nick Bolton. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see something like this in the future, just let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next one. Peace out.